Hello everyone. My name is Aashna and I'm a SONA rep. And for those who do not know about SONA, SONA is a student body for students in architecture and related disciplines. And I also work for DESIM as an architectural assistant and have been involved in planning Back to the Future. And Dejan would be talking a bit about it later. And before we get started, I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather or meet today, and acknowledge Warami people as the traditional owners of the land of Port Stephens, on which sits our site, North Arm Cove. I would also like to pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. And I extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander peoples who might be listening to this session later or today or anytime. So getting started now. So for Back to the Future competition, I would like to mention all the amazing contributors and sponsors that have given this event all the life that we are here today and we're collecting together for such an important cause. And you would be watching them, you would be meeting them, you would be getting involved with them in different ways over the coming days or weeks and months. And for today's session, for the briefing session, we have Dejan from DESIM. So Dejan has Masters in Architecture and Planning from Belgrade University in Serbia. He is also a certified passive house designer and a technical advisor for UN development programs. Dejan has over 30 years of international experience and more than 20 years of local Australian experience on various projects, from individual houses, subdivision plans, master planning developments, to the largest development towers in Sydney CBD. He has started DESIM as his own practice 5 years ago and is specializing in sustainable and high performance design, planning, and research. And apart from that, I know Dejan as my mentor, and I have been working with DESIM, and he's a very, very inspirational person, and he's very involved in sustainability and all these matters, and he's the person behind major contribution to this event today is because of Dejan. So I would like to open the floor for Dejan, and let me sort of brief how we are going to run this session today. So for today, we are going to do it. So this competition is huge, and as you can see, there's a lot of things going on our website and all. So the kind of way we have structured today's session is I'll be asking a few questions and Dejan would be answering them, and I hope that will cover most of your questions. But at the end of the session, we'll also be opening the platform for all of you who are attending the session to ask any questions if you have at all, or and feel free to use the chat function. So hello, Dejan.
Hello everyone. Thank you for having me there, and those nice words from Aashna. Indeed, we met first time, I think, early in 2020. So it was mentoring through the Institute of Architects. They have basically organized the mentoring in between the professionals and the students and young architects. So it's not only for students, it's for young architects as well, just to assist each other in achieving better results. And we are all asking a lot of questions each other. And that's where we started. And then it turned out that Aashna is very valuable member of our team and very interested in wide variety of projects that we are working on. And she's also obviously a member of or representative of SONA, and she wanted to use that to do something with that as a representative to create some event. And we had this project, and we started with this project on the North Arm Cove some time ago, probably 5-6 years, when we discovered this lost city. But now when the COVID started, our other projects have kind of slowed down, and we got more time to do a bit of a research, and we started looking at which way we are going to go with this, and somehow we came to discuss about presenting this as a competition for students. And I guess there are some questions there related to that.
Yeah, so you did answer my first question, like how did we get to this idea of competition? But Dejan, I think this was the first question that even I asked you initially, and probably like this might be a question for other students as well. Like, why this topic of regional town for 21st century?
We have just last week has finished the Festival of Urbanism that goes every year in Sydney. This time it was online, so it was not necessarily in Sydney, it was everywhere. And that festival is practically only forum where people interested in planning and planning our towns and cities could talk about the issues, present their views. However, I find that that's mostly related to really big cities, Sydney, Melbourne, and large areas. However, because of a COVID, we have got in a situation where we actually have people moving away from large cities. Let me just find a couple of slides that I have prepared. So I have to learn how to actually share the screen.
So yeah,
I get it. Here's it. That's the shared screen. Okay, so now that's one of the newspaper articles that basically shows that COVID is causing the people to move from large cities into the regional areas. And I have a few more, I think. It's not only, for instance, there is this one that is, this one is the similar article from Time, American magazine, and it's same thing is happening in New York. So basically, that's the reason why we should actually start thinking how are we dealing with the regional smaller cities, not only large urban developments and conglomerations.
Yeah, I guess, this was a year of a lot of things, bushfires, floods, and everything. So, yeah, I guess it makes sense, to sort of move people from, like large cities, decentralizing things.
So basically, the year was really challenging for many points. It started from fires even end of last year. We find that everything that we are working for is getting reviewed now. All projects, everything that we are working on is getting reviewed through 3 or 4 new perspectives. One is climate change. So that is obviously happening irrespective that whether we think it's a human caused by humans or is it just natural event. It's definitely happening. The other thing is that it's obviously COVID is another reason. Whole lot of things are changing. Whole lot of our perspectives on lives in the cities and lives in general are changing. People cannot travel in a public transport. Everything public is now dangerous. So we have to see how we're going to deal with the public gatherings, public transport, work where we gather together. So everything is getting re-evaluated. And the third one is also happening is enormous technological revolution, basically, that is coming our way with the new technologies, which are affecting again the way we are living and working, but also providing some opportunities for solving some of our challenges that we have. So those are the three major things that we want to students to first of all introduce students for some of them through by experts, but also then for them to have a look and give us their opinion.
Yeah, I guess what you mean is it's finding the right use of technology, right? Like there is technology, but it's for us to make the right use of it and check if it's working the right way and introduce. So whatever we are looking at should not be away from technology as well, right?
From our point of view, we are in these introductory presentations, we are going to try to show as much as we can of cutting edge technologies or cutting edge approaches to certain problems or solutions to certain problems. We are not going to judge whether it's good or bad. It's going to be left to the individual teams and individual members to basically research and explore. Every new technology has a good and bad side, or could be used for one or for good or bad. So we have to, we would like to hear. There are no answers that are, given that are correct 100%. We don't think that there are prescribed answers. So what I want to say is we really want to learn together with the students, together with the competitors. We are all going through this together. So we don't have all the answers. And some of the answers that we used to have in the past are obviously wrong, because we wouldn't be in this situation if we had the right answers right from the beginning.
Yeah, I guess this competition is as much about exploration as much it is about research. It's also about innovation and all other different things and working together. So moving on to my next question, I guess, yeah, this would be another question to sort of, let people know why are we looking for students and why a competition?
So that's partly we have already gone through that. It's students are the ones who are basically, we are talking about planning. So we are talking about something that is coming in the future. That future, unfortunately, knowledge, accumulated knowledge is usually with the older generations. However, with all these changes that are happening and new stuff, it's equally new for old generation and for students or people who are coming, young people. So we all have to learn from about these new things, about these new challenges, about these new opportunities. So, and since there's more, the students or young people have more at stake, because they're going to live and work more than us in all the generation. We are here to basically maybe better explain where we went wrong than that we can say, okay, this is what you have to do. So that exploration is for the benefit of those young people. That's why we want to ask the students. There's an additional element of that is that related to Arm Cove specifically, is that is one of the oldest called that council, because council is one of the oldest councils in Australia in terms of the population average age, and obviously people living there doing the planning in 20-30 years doesn't make too much sense for them. So it would be, and hopefully that demography is going to change, and we are going to have younger people there, and we would like to see how the younger people see that place in future. So, and you are the experts of the future. So, and you are going to live in that. Whatever you create for yourself, you're going to live in it. So let's see what your ideas are.
Also, Dejan, like you have partly covered like why North Arm Cove, like you have mentioned, like it's the oldest area and all, but like there would have been other places. Like why specifically? What all challenges do you see in North Arm Cove that makes it, such a comprehensive problem?
Well, it's not. It's not. I don't want to see that as a terrible. Every problem is at the same time, opportunity. So it is, as much as it's a problem, it's a great opportunity but we didn't want to make this competition just what do I say? Just to be theoretical. Just pure research. We wanted to find a place where it's, where we have real people, real location, real, ground, and real problems as well. So my attitude is, and it's actually the theory of design that, design is done because, in order to solve some problems, and then planning as such is solving problems in the future. So we were involved with the North Arm Cove for, as I said, for some years. We are part of their community. We have a land there. We have a house there. We're involved with the community who lives there and who is, we were hoping it's going to grow more and quicker, but it has its problems. I will just share again the screen for a moment, and that probably illustrates a bit how that shows how future plan. It's a part of the LSPS, which is a planning strategic plan for Mid-Coast Council. So at the beginning, you actually see what the challenges are there, and they say that they have a socio-economic health of a community is very low, with high levels of retirement, unemployment, low level of education attainment. Household incomes in Mid-Coast Council are significantly lower than other regions. It's the 25th most disadvantaged council in New South Wales of 131. And this particular area where North Arm Cove is one of the, so to say, most disadvantaged in the whole of Australia. So there is a serious problem apart from, old population, but that's all. So that is the reason why. Also, it was not meant to be like that. So this we discovered. We find out that plan, that area has a heritage. So that has a planning heritage that was meant to be something else. So it was designed 100 years ago to be something else than most disadvantaged community in the country. It was designed, it was found, it was planned to be the New York of Australia. And then it turned out to be complete opposite of that. So, we want to see what went wrong, and is there something that can be revisited in that heritage plan? Are there values there that can be reapplied? But also then, apply new technologies, new ideas, new visions to see where is that area, where can it get? But it also is, again, it is a template. So we want to use it as a template for general kind of new towns or towns of the future not only in Australia. I was actually, there is another, just a moment. So we are living at other people are, just a second. So I'll just share another screen. Okay, so Americans are planning the towns or cities on Mars. So yeah, it says it has to be sustainable and self-sufficient because there is no choice. But we are talking about the time when other people are looking at the similar problem for their own reasons. And we are talking about Americans, and Walter Billy Griffin and his wife Marion were Americans. They were foreigners here, and I would argue that North Arm Cove was as far as Mars for them, as Mars is now. So there's it's pretty what I say a trendy subject. So finding the solution for living sustainably, self-sufficiently, is something that is happening on so many levels.
Right. Yeah, I guess you have discussed a lot of things, and yeah, it's about scaling the idea. Like, it's not just about finding a solution for North Arm Cove. It's definitely a template, but yeah, it has to be like whatever you design has to sort of look at different perspectives and different real life problems. So yeah, like there might be problems that you as participants discover, and you find, okay, this is a problem which probably no one else is looking at. So yeah, feel free to sort of explore the problems. It's as much of a problem to find the right problems. So from here, I guess, Dejan, we have got another 15-20 minutes to cover the rest of the questions. And so shifting to the competition specifics, I just wanted to ask you, like, sort of ask you to explain sort of like why multidisciplinary teams, and like why are we asking for students to for participants to sort of tell like what roles they want to perform.
I think it's going to be clear when people start getting and learning about the location itself and learning about the problems that are there, because there are so many different levels of issues that have to be resolved, and it cannot be resolved by a single profession. So it has to be multidisciplinary. It has to be integrated, because that's nature of the problem. And we have, in a brief, we have indicated what problems. We have social issues there, obviously, old population and low income and disadvantaged population. We have environmental issues in the whole of Australia, not only that, North Arm Cove. There are specifics for North Arm Cove. We would leave. We don't want to, in these presentations, we don't want to give the answers to people. We want people to discover where the problems are, because we might not see some of them, people might discover them. We have a pretty good idea of where the problems are and how to get them, but we intentionally don't want to give all the answers to the competitors. So there's environmental issues. There are environmental issues you can join them with sustainability issues, but there are environmental issues that are local, just related to the nature in North Arm Cove. And then obviously there's economy, and finally there is urban design. But we want to have a design as a result of the research of all of these other disciplines, and that gives the form. I would like to say that form is a result of the performance. So that's the reason why we have to have this multidisciplinary approach, so that we get good design, good performing design.
My next question, like, I guess you have already shown, like everyone has seen the North Arm Cove as an area probably on Google Maps, or if not, like in the promotional banners and all. So with specifics to the competition, like, are competitors or are teams expected to design or plan the entire site?
Okay, so let me just have a look at that. This is the, basically I'm going to share the image of, oops. So that's the CAD file that will be shared with all competitors. I know that it looks scary to, especially for architects who, start designing the individual buildings, and that's, they know just the neighborhoods. But this is large site. It has about 4,000 lots, but there are going to be constraints on this plan. So they are going to basically just going to be few blanks that will need to be filled. So it's, yes, it is a whole area, but that area is just there to show how, there is a history why it looks like it looks, and there is a basically review of the original uses of those blanks, and then assessment, can they be utilized by something else? How is the technology changing? How has the time of past 100 years changed those uses, and what is it best used for? So it is the whole area of obviously individual, because it's teamwork, individual roles can address individual areas. Where their role is most important, they can just say, okay, this is where I'm showing in more details how we see that this can be, that this can be answered. And but some big picture should be shown, should be addressed. Yes.
A person should, like a team should be knowing what all things they imagine in a future city and how and where it's to be located, and if sort of recognize if there's something already there on site, and if they want to move, or if something was suggested by Walter Body Griffin and they want to keep it in the same place, have a proper reasoning or have a logic to why it's so.
Only constraints, only thing is that residential area are fixed because it's private property, is owned by individual owners, and obviously road network is fixed because it's in between the properties. Everything else is everything else is basically these communal areas for other uses. So that's the town that has a 4,000 lots. It's probably about 10,000 people in the future at some point when it gets developed. What uses do we need there? Do we need a schools? Do we need a some kind of employment area, some light industry, some food production? Because if we want to make it self-sustainable, maybe there's some local production of food that is going to make it resilient in a situation where next time we have people, whole cities in the lockdown, or whole regions in the lockdown. Maybe we need to look at how can the whole town survive on its own for some time. I'm not suggesting that it's a solution for in a long time. We don't want that. But that is something that is going to provide the resilience.
Yeah, so like being realistic, like not thinking of something, that's going to probably exist in like 50 or 100 years from now, something that's realistic and achievable, and that can transition into a future city as, technology comes and,
It goes, the question is, where would you like to live?
Right.
So it's not 100 years, it's, next 20, 30 years.
Okay. From here, I guess probably if you can bit of explain what can students achieve, like there's a lot of things obviously happening, and we haven't yet shared, PDF version of the brief, which we'll be sharing today with all the participants. So today we release the PDF version of the brief, so a detailed version of the brief, and that will be mailed to all the participants. But Dejan, if you can sort of, brief about what people get out of this competition.
Yeah, for me, and I can tell you that there are professionals outside of just not only students. They're professionals in a field who are interested in these presentations. I think that we have a great lineup of presenters, and there is, I think, great value to be obtained by students for their future way of thinking, for their future careers, for their future learnings. We want them to inspire them to learn, to research, to do the findings, to do the discovery. And there are some great, and I think unexpected for some, because they are not only technology but also social and way of making decisions in a communal setting. They are very interesting things that are we have lined up. So that's, I think, one of the most valuable things. The second thing is that it is a mix of academia and industry. So working with the industry is going to hopefully bring that level of reality, so that we see what the limits are at the moment and in a near future. I think that it's new thing for different disciplines to work together and to try to understand. So working in that interdisciplinary environment, I think it's a new. I mean, it's a long time since I was a student, but that was something that was interesting at the time, and it's discovery and trying to understand a view of the problem from someone else's perspective. So we also, obviously, there are some rewards and some long-term benefits for students. We are hoping that the whole proceedings of this competition are going to be published in either online, maybe even some self-printing or something like that. I think that it's going to be valuable for future careers of young professionals. I mean, this is potentially a real project, either professionally in terms of making it happen, building it, or at the same time also a research project, which is going to be with the research institutions and doing it with some funding, hopefully, and something. So one of the opportunities potentially for the teams that are winning to join those projects, either as a professional or as researchers, whichever their interest is. Also, we want to show what the variety of our profession, especially architects, in the planning and in the design and in research and in innovation, where your career can go in the future. So giving the wider perspective of what your career can be.
So I guess you have touched a bit about architects and all. So why architecture students?
So that's the reason. I think, and that's partly the reason why Arm Cove, because it has that heritage that it has been designed or planned, not only planned, it's first selected by an architect. So architect's job at the time was 100 years ago to go from selecting the site for the client, for the big town, designing it or planning it, laying the roads and the different uses on the land, and then designing the individual buildings all the way to the details of furniture that is used on certain projects. So that is something that hopefully students are going to discover through their research. We are directing them in that point, but it is wide-ranging discussion at the moment in our profession. What is our job? Who needs architects? Everyone can do the drawing. Everyone can go in a SketchUp and design something that looks fantastic. What is our role? How are we contributing to the better world? So I think that this is maybe looking back at what architects used to do, what their responsibilities were 100 years ago. Maybe that will give us a better view on where we should go, or where you guys should go, because your career is in front of you.
Perfect. So I guess, yeah, Dejan, you have covered what all expectations, like how we wanted to, sort of open this as a platform, open a doorway for students to explore,
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying students every time is because I'm going to graduate my master's. So yeah, but yeah, like I want other students as well, other people like me to, sort of explore at this point of their, life, to see what all options are there, and which is why we wanted to, sort of bring a competition which allows them to work with different disciplines and see how different. So a city cannot work with just one discipline. There's so much happening. So probably it is the best way to explore what things you actually enjoy.
But also, shouldn't architects? I mean, it has been done by a single architect, so we shouldn't be afraid of a challenge.
From now, I just open the platform for everyone to ask any questions if there are. But yeah, like we'll be sharing the brief over mail. I was thinking I'll drop it in the chat, but it's not going for some reason. So I'll be mailing each of the participants the brief, and we'll be putting it on the website as well. And by the time anyone asks questions, I just wanted to let everyone know about. Sorry.
You have emails or all participants?
Yeah, now I've got from a few. So yes, people have mailed me now. So yeah, I should be having. So yeah, just make sure for any future contact, like if you're going through our website or someone's registering of your, any of your friend, just make sure like we should be having at least an email ID to get back to you. And apart from that, yeah, like if you can see, like our website is still building. So in terms of how this competition is going to go is we have these presentations lined up till 11th of December. So starting from tomorrow, so today we just wanted to release the brief and, answer any of the questions that, we didn't want it, sort of throw all this information at once, because yeah, like there's a lot of information, but they all tie in very closely. So yeah, slowly, we wanted to take it slowly. So even the CAD file we'll be sharing after all these presentations get over, and that is the time from which you start working on this project. So until 12, try to, sort of grab whatever you can in terms of, resources, the takeaways from different presentations.
We are still hoping to hear. I mean, we are trying to shape this. We don't know what people don't understand. I mean, what questions they have. We would like to shape this whole idea properly, and that's why we are, basically through this period of presentations and gathering the opinion of people or views of the people, questions from the people. We would like to, basically hear as much as possible, and then by the end we'll, provide this final, setting of how the whole presentation is going to go, whole competition is going to go.
Yeah, and yeah, like we haven't, I guess, mentioned about, what each of the participants get. So everything, like each of the winning teams get. So everything's there in the final brief that we're going to share, like whatever the cash prizes are and whatever things that Dejan was talking about. And if we have time quickly, can I show Dejan like how and where the things are going to come on our website, so that everyone is on, the same position. So I'll quickly share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
So that's our website. And so on home, we just have the general information about, these are a few questions that we, sort of are prompting, but that's again open to all the questions that you sort of discover or find important. And from here, you can go to about, background, and what you get out of this competition. But also at the top here, you have got a about tab, which takes you to about this competition and about North Arm Cove. Then background sort of takes you to the background of North Arm Cove, and we'll be adding more videos, more pictures to this section over the gallery here. Then in the competition section, you have all the criterias over here. So when you hover over this picture, you have all the criterias that we are looking for, like what Dejan was mentioning, like it's about being social, urban, technology, environment, economics, all at the same time. So yeah, probably if you want to have a look at it. And here is the timeline and the submission requirements. Also, the submission link and other things will be added and will be communicated to you later as we sort of approach to the deadline. So deadline is on 15th Feb, so you have still got time. So do not worry if you can't find the submission link or anything. We'll be sharing all the details with you soon. And there's a judgment criteria. We'll also be releasing the judging panel soon. So yeah, that's not released yet as well. On schedule, obviously, we have got all the presentations, and just to mention again, we have got the same link, so it's a recurring meeting link. So just make sure you keep that meeting link handy to access all these presentations along with the password. And yeah, so starting from tomorrow till 11th, we have all the amazing presenters lined up. And the speakers section, you can find about the speakers, their works and all, and make sure you start connecting, because it really matters who you know. So yeah, this is a part of this competition is not just about doing something, it's also about learning and growing as an individual. And for resources, it's still not there's nothing over here, but starting from today, we'll be putting everything like resources, like what all things we find can be, sort of resourceful for you to, learn about. So that will be coming on resources. For FAQs,
to direct students in the right, well, at least what we think are the right sources to find out more, to research. But that's only again starting. You don't know where you're going to go. Start research and you start,
yeah, those are just like starters for you to sort of, explore, to give you some direction to explore. But from there, it's totally up to you. So the FAQ section will have some of the frequently asked questions, but if you think there's something that, that you want to get in touch with, you can either type in here, but make sure you add your email ID so that, like, if there's some question that's very specific to you, you can just, drop your email ID and I can get in touch with you. Or you can use the chat function at the bottom right corner, and that's on every page. And obviously, you all would have gone through the register page. So yeah, for those who haven't sent me their email ID, just make sure to fill this form again if you haven't, given me your email ID too, so that I can, add you to the contact group and you get all the communication mails directed to your email account. And last but one thing is that all the presentations that starting from today, I'll be putting a link over here so that you can, access the recordings of the meetings and presentations as well. So just in case you can't attend the presentations live, although I would highly recommend, because that is the way you can get in touch with people, you can ask your questions, and yeah, like it's the best way to get in touch, especially now when everything's virtual. So yeah,
get most from the direct interaction with the presenters.
Yeah, so that was all about this website and how we're going to run. So yeah, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat section below. I guess I've spoken a lot very quickly.
Answered all the questions. Anyway, so yeah, maybe people are going to ask more in the.
Oh, thanks, Sumit. Yeah, probably like if there are no questions, just put a thumbs up so that we know, yeah, like everyone's on the same page.
Send us the email.
Does the actual design process, so Sophia asks, does the actual design process with groups start after all the lectures?
One issue is, we didn't mention that, basically to form the group, it has to be group teamwork. So some people have joined as a teams. We would like to know within their teams what are the roles that they are each individual going to play. At the end of the competition, there is going to be individual prize for an individual within a group. Also, for individuals that are not part of the group, we would like to hear from each individual what are their preference, what are their interests within these roles that we were talking about. So it's about design, about engineering or technology, about environment, about social studies, and about economy or a business for building the city. So whatever the preferences are, whatever the people might have, when they join as individual, they can tell us what their preferences are, so that we know how to assemble the teams of different individuals.
Yeah.
So we are aiming to have at least 3 people in a group. So if you can, when you are joining, if you're joining as an individual, let us know what your preference role is.
Yeah. So Sophia, with respect to your second question, which is when are individuals going to be assigned in groups? Thank you for reminding me that. So we are still arranging students into groups, like Dejan mentioned, a minimum of 3 in each team and a max of 5. So yeah, like we are arranging, and probably like by the time like mid of the presentations, by I guess next week start, we will be having at least all the teams set, but before that, make sure, so all those who are organized in the teams already, make sure sort of send to us the team leader, so who is going to be so the team leader is basically will help us in moderating within your team. So any communications we'll be sending to your team leader, and therefore from their side, your team side as well. And for individuals, yeah, like I said, as I said, we'll be doing it starting from next week, 7th, I guess 7th is the date. So by then we should be having rough idea of who's going in what teams. But before that, if anyone has any like they want to do a particular role or they have any expectations, just let us know, so that it will help us in arranging the teams accordingly. But if not, that's fine as well. So we'll arrange teams in whatever way, let it be random. And there's another question. So where do we talk about our preferences and when? So yeah, like if you can drop a mail on this email ID, that would be great. I'm just dropping my email ID.
They can also communicate through Instagram, is it?
Yes, so we have, yeah, you can get in touch with me or like with us from websites. So there's a chat function, but yeah, make sure to drop in your email ID, and that is how I can get in touch with you. Aashna@desim.com.au. So yeah, I've put my email ID in the chat. So yeah, like if you have any preferences, just drop on this email ID with your name. And Joanna asks, is there a communication channel available for discussions like Slack or Discord? Thanks for that, Joanna. Joan, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but yeah, Joan. I think that's a great idea. We can sort of have a communication channel. So yeah, I'll work through it and I'll see if I can create a Slack or something so that everyone like can get through all the communications at the same time. And yeah.
Okay, we'll have a investigate that before the end of the presentation.
Yeah, so before the end of the presentations or by the time, I sort of discover all this out, yeah, hopefully I'll try to get it done by next week's start. So yeah, or this weekend, probably.
We just have to all think, I mean, Aashna has done an enormous amount of work, but she's also finalizing her master next week.
Yeah.
So it's this week. So
yeah, it's this week. So yeah, I'm doing my final submissions.
We have to let her, this week concentrate on her studies to finalize that, and then next week.
I'll come in all full swing from next week. But yeah, thanks for joining us today. And I guess if there are no more questions, we can sort of move towards the last bit, which is, thanking the sponsors and the contributors again. So starting from tomorrow, there will be, presentations, and they are sort of our contributors for sure. And some of them would be our sponsors as well for the prize or any, associated with this competition. So a huge thanks to them. And yeah, I hope you all, sort of can make the most out of this competition. And yeah, that's all from our side for today. And the recording will be shared with all of you on the website, and probably I'll send a mail to all of you as well. So bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.